Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome, my dear students of grade first secondary. Inshallah, today in biology session, we'll continue discussion in chapter 2 in interaction of genes. Interaction of genes. We start talking in chapter 2 about interaction of genes in the last session, and we start talking about the non-Mendelian traits. The traits which are not following the rules of Mendel, the laws of Mendel. Not all characteristics are inherited by Mendel's laws. So Mendel, when Mendel make his laws, he consider that the trait is inherited by the effect of two genes. One is dominant and one is recessive. And every gamete has one gene only. And when the fertilization happens between the two gametes, the male gamete and the female gamete, the two genes of the trait return back again into a couple, and the genes affect and appear their influence to appear the hereditary trait. And one of them is dominant and the other one is recessive. When they meet together, the dominant and the recessive, the dominant can appear itself, but the recessive cannot appear itself. The recessive cannot express itself in the trait unless it's found with another dominant gene. So the dominant trait only appear when the dominant trait appear when the two dominant genes together and when one dominant gene and one recessive gene together. For example, R capital, it will be a dominant trait. R capital, R small, it will be also a dominant trait. But when the two recessive genes come together, for example, R small, now the recessive trait can appear. In this case only, the recessive trait can appear. This is the complete dominance or the study of first law of Mendel and second law of Mendel. But we say that there is many experiments and many scientists discover after Mendel by some time, there is other traits which are inherited, not controlled by this way. Not all traits are inherited by a complete dominance. So we have some traits are inherited by another way. Like we talk about the case of lack of dominance. Lack of dominance is a case which it doesn't follow Mendel rules. Lack of dominance means the two genes have the same power. The two genes have the same influence in the appearance of the hereditary trait. So if we have two genes have the same power and they have the same force and they have the same influence in appearing the hereditary trait, if they come together in an individual, that the new trait which carry both genes, the two different genes, this individual will carry a new trait, completely new trait with a new character, like what we have studied in the internal plant, which we have a gene responsible for appearance of red color, and another gene responsible for appearance of white color of the flower. But the two genes have the same power. The two genes have the same influence in appearing the hereditary trait. No dominant gene and no recessive gene. So when they meet together, they come together, we give them two capital letters. And here we give them two capital letters because no one recessive. We doesn't give, you don't give them one capital letter and one small letter, but you give them two capital letters. So when they meet together, R capital, the character will be red. When the other trait, W capital, which is white flower, and when we have F1, which have two different genes, R capital and W capital, the new individual or the new plant will carry a new trait, completely new trait, which is pink flower, okay, or purple flower. So we have here a new trait by the effect of the two genes. Not one gene only influence itself or express itself, but the two genes express themselves. So we have in F1 all the genes, all the individuals have R capital, W capital. So the phenotype of these individuals or these plants, they have a pink or purple flower. But when we make a new crossing, a new generation between pink flower plants, we will have in the second generation a new ratio, which is 1 to 2 to 1. It is not following Mendel's rules. 1 red, 2 pink, and 1 white. So we have a new ratio which is not following the rule of Mendel. So we call it a lack of dominance. We have 3 phenotypes, not 2 phenotypes, and every phenotype has its own genotype. The phenotype red has genotype R capital, R capital. The phenotype purple has genotype R capital, W capital. And the phenotype white has genotype W capital, W capital. So the percentage here, 1 to 2 to 1. This is called a lack of dominance. This is called the interaction of genes. This is called the non-Mendelian trait, non-Mendelian inheritance. We have another example. This we have what we have studied in the last session. This is what we have studied in the last session. Now we have to study a new example of lack of dominance. Lack of dominance, but in the human, not in the plant. We have the example in the human for the lack of dominance, which is the inheritance of the blood group. In the human, there is a trait which is inherited and it has lack of dominance. Like the blood group, inheritance of blood groups. You know that every individual, every one of us has a blood group, a certain blood group. And we have 4 different blood groups. We call them phenotypes, 4 different phenotypes. Blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and the blood group O. Okay? Everybody must know his blood group. It is good to know your blood group. I am, for example, I am blood group. My blood group is O. Do you know your blood group, Salma? Or Ruqayya, do you know your blood group?
No.
You don't. You have to ask your father or mother about it. Okay? You should know your blood group. Maybe it is in your ID, Iqama, Hawiya. In your ID, maybe you will have, if you search about your blood group, you will find it, inshallah. So you have to know your blood. Why I should have to know my blood group? It is very important to know your blood group because it is very important in many ways. One example that when somebody make an accident, he needs some blood, he needs more blood, he needs a donation of blood. So he must take the same blood group or a compatible blood group. If you give him a blood group which is not compatible or not suitable for his blood group, it will be a big problem. It may cause a death. So you have to know your blood group. In these emergency cases, if you want to donate blood, you have to know your blood group. And if you want to receive blood from a donor, you have also to know your blood group. This is very important. Somebody make a surgery or make an accident, many times the human need donation of blood group. So you have to know your blood group for many reasons. Okay. We have 4 different blood groups. Blood group A, this is a phenotype A, but it has 2 genotypes. If you look here, blood group A has 2 different genotypes. It may be A capital, A capital. It may has 2 similar genes, A capital, A capital. In the blood group, we have 3 different genes. We have 4 blood groups and 3 genes. What are the 3 genes? We have 3 genes which are A, gene is called A, and gene is called B, and gene is called O. So we have 3 different alleles or 3 different genes. Okay, but the 3 genes come in pairs, come in every individual in pairs. The gamete has 1 gene only. The gamete has 1 gene only. For example, the male gamete and the female gamete. For example, if we have a sperm like this and an ovum like this, so we have here every gamete has 1 gene of the blood group only. For example, let's take an example. For example, if the gamete here has A, gene A, and the ovum has gene O, the zygote will be formed. It has what? What is the genotype of the zygote? Who can tell me? The zygote will be AO. The zygote will be what? AO. The zygote will be AO. Like this. The zygote, the new individual, will have AO genotype type. If he has A and O genes, which of them is powerful, more powerful? A or B, A or O? Which gene is dominant? The dominant gene in this case is A. So the blood group of this person will be what? A or O? Huh?
A.
Blood
A.
group is A. Very good. Because the gene A is dominant over gene O. The gene O is always recessive. Gene O is always a recessive. So if an individual has AO genes, A gene and O gene, his blood group will be A type. If he has A and A, if the sperm and the ovum, or both of them has A, if the individual was A and A, like this one, it will be, his blood group, of course, will be what? A. His blood group will be what? A. Of course, it will be A. The blood group A comes by 2 ways. If the person has 2 genes, A and A, and if the person has 2 genes, A and O. If he has A and O, also he will be, the blood group will be A. Okay? Because A is dominant over O. Type B. The blood group B. The blood group B comes when the 2 genes are B. When the 2 genes are B and B. And also it comes when the 2 genes are B and O, because O is always A recessive. If it comes with B, the blood group will be B or O. The person blood group will be or O if he has 2 genes, B and O. Huh?
B.
B, because B is A dominant over what? Over the gene O. And the gene O is recessive. Gene O is A recessive. يعني gene A dominant over O. And gene B dominant over O. Okay? And the gene O is always recessive. If it comes with A, it cannot express itself. If it comes with B, it cannot express itself. So AO is the group A. The blood group will be A. And the BO, the blood group will be B. Okay? Type. If the 2 genes were AB, now A and B have the same power, have the same influence. A and B have the same power and the same influence. They are equal in force, equal in power. They can express themselves. So there is a lack of dominance between A and B. There is a lack of dominance between A and B. Here we have lack of dominance. Between what? A and B. We have studied the blood group because there is a lack of dominance here in this case. If gene A comes with gene B, we have now a new blood group, which is AB. A is not stronger than B. B is not stronger than A. So they are equal in influence, equal in power. They can express themselves. So a new trait appear, which is a new group, a new blood group, which is AB group. So we have here a lack of dominance, a case of lack of dominance between A and B only. Type, when the person has blood group O, in this case, only it comes O only if the two genes are O. If the two genes are O, the blood group now will become O. The blood group will become O. This is in the case only if the two genes are O gene, O and O, because O gene is recessive. Okay, so we have to know from this there is Mendelian inheritance and the non-Mendelian inheritance. In this case, in this inheriting of blood groups, we have both Mendel and the non-Mendelian traits. We have Mendelian and the non-Mendelian traits in the same time in studying the blood group. In the case of A with O, in the case of B with O, we have a complete dominance. But in the case of A and B together, we have what? We have lack of dominance. In the case of presence of A with B, we have lack of dominance. Okay? Okay. We can study the inheritance of a person blood group like this. If a person, a female, has blood group O, of course, his genotype will be O and O. And if the male or the female, the man, will be blood group AB. Of course, the genotype AB, the blood group AB has one genotype only, AB. And the blood group O has one genotype only, which is OO. You know that in this case, the gametes here will be O. All gametes will be O, carry gene O. And here we have two gametes, two different gametes. Some gametes have A gene, and some gametes will have B gene. And if we make crossing or fertilization between this gamete and this gamete, it will give us AO. And if we make fertilization between this gamete and this gamete, will be O. What is the blood group here and what is the blood group here? In AO, what is the blood group? Blood group A. A. Of course, it will be group A. Okay. And in the other case, we have blood group A.
B.
BO will be what?
B.
B, of course. So, if two individuals married, one having blood group O and the other one having blood group AB, all their offspring or all their kids, some of them 50% will carry blood group A and 50% will carry blood group B. No one of the individuals in the offspring or no one of the child will carry blood group O or AB at all. No one carry blood group A or B. No one will carry O and AB at all. all their children will carry A or B blood group. This is an amazing. This is a way of inheritance which is amazing. Parent O and the other parent AB, no one of their kids will be O or AB at O. We can use this way of inheritance to discover the parental problems, the parental issues. يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ مشاكل التبني او مشاكل الوراثه او مشاكل الابوه، ادعاء الابوه، parental problems, like some woman say that I married this man and I have a baby from this man and he denied the marriage. He denied the marriage. He cannot convince of the marriage. مش راضي يعترف بالزواج ولا بالاطفال. He cannot convince he was married for this woman. يعملوا ايه؟ To prove this way of parental problem, they check the blood group in the beginning of the mother and father and the blood group of the boys. This woman say, my boy blood group is AB, and my blood group is AB also, and this man blood group is O. Is this woman is innocent and she telling the truth, or she is lying? Again, if the woman, the mother was, blood group of the mother was AB, and the father was, the man was O, and the kid of this woman was AB. The baby will AB. And she say that this man is the father of this baby. This woman is telling the truth or she is lying? Huh? Is it possible? Is it possible to have a baby, AB, from a man, O, and the woman, AB? Is it possible? Huh? Possible or impossible?
No.
It is impossible. It is impossible. Because she is lying. This woman is lying. This is impossible. Because of this way of inheritance, if the woman was AB and the man was O, their kids will be not at all AB at all. They will be يا إما B يا إما O. Only O or B or A. No kid can be AB at all. No one of their kids will be AB at all. So this woman is lying, and this father is a innocent person, and she is telling the fake. And by this way, they can solve the parental issues, the parental problems. By this way, they can use the blood group for helping the judges in parental issues, to know if the baby is for this woman or not, for this man or not, and so on. And it can prove that the baby is not for this man, or it can prove that the baby can be, not for sure, can be for this man. Okay. And after that, when we are studying the blood group, we have to know the blood group studying has very important role in different ways. As we said, donation of blood, تبرع بالدم. You should have a compatible blood group with the one who you donate or one you receive the blood from him. If the blood group is not compatible, it will be a big problem. We'll know now why this will be a big problem. It can cause some chemical reaction in the body, and it can cause agglutination of blood, and it can cause the death if the blood group is not compatible. If the blood group is not compatible. Type why and how this come? Listen. When we are studying the blood group, we have to know that if you have blood drop like this, a blood drop like this, and we have red blood cells. We have red blood cell like this. This red blood cell, and this is another red blood cell, and this is another red blood cell, and another red blood cell, and so on. Okay? We have many red blood cells. You have in your blood, you have what is the components of the blood? We have red blood cells, we have also white blood cells, and we have platelets, and we have plasma. This is platelets, small, this is platelets. This is platelets, and we have white blood cells like this, white blood cells, white blood cells. This is the structure of the blood. White blood cells, red blood cells, and plasma. This is the plasma. This is the plasma of the blood. And this is the red blood cell. Red blood cell. As you see. Okay, let's talk about what in the blood make problems if you donate your blood to someone is not compatible with your blood group. What is the problem here? If you know, you will discover the problem. In the blood, there is some, the blood has an immune function. What is the meaning of immune function? The immunity system, the blood is a part of the immunity system. The blood, if there is a microbe or a pathogen enters the body, the blood can produce antibodies. Antibodies, they are chemical substances which can kill this microbe. These antibodies act in the blood as a defense system, against the strange objects or the strange pathogens or the bacterial cells or something like this. Type. Antibodies have chemical structure and they are found in the blood plasma. In the blood plasma, there is antibodies. In the blood plasma, there is here antibodies. Antibody like this in the plasma. Antibody like this, antibody like this. This green color is antibody, okay? In the blood plasma, okay? And if the person has blood group A, if this person has blood group A, okay, he will have antibodies against the blood group B. He has anti-B. He has antibodies called anti-B or anti-B. Because the blood group is A, he has what? Anti-B or anti-B. Okay. And if the person has blood group B, if the person has blood group B, What is the type of antibodies? Huh? If the person has blood group B, what is the type of antibodies? This antibody.
A.
Very good. If the person has blood group B, the antibodies will be anti-A. But if he has blood group A, he has antibodies anti-B. So the different group, you have antibodies in your blood against the different group. This is the antibodies. And these antibodies are chemical structure, have chemical structure, and they face any strange object, any strange substance enter the body. This is antibodies. Okay? Which have a chemical structure. Type. There is also on the blood group itself, the red blood cell itself, there is another chemical substance called antigen. There is a chemical substance called antigen. Antigen found here on the red blood cell. On the surface of the red blood cell, there is antigens. Antigens. And every blood group has antigens by the same name of the blood group. يعني ايه؟ If your blood group is A, so you have antigens A. This is antigen. This is what? Antigen. This antigen A or B, the same of the name of the blood group. This antigen A or B?
A.
A. Very good. Because the blood group is A. We have a person. His blood group is A, so the antigen will be antigen A. Because the person has blood group A. So the antigens is antigens A. The same name of the blood group. But the antibodies, anti-B. Okay? يبقى we have two chemical substances. One in the plasma of the blood and one on the red blood cell surface. The one which in the plasma is called the antibodies. And the one which on the surface of the red blood cell is called the antigen. And antigen A in the blood group A. And with it, there is antibody B. There is antibody B with the same A person. We have antigen A and the antibody B. There is no problem at all if there is antigen A and the antibody B. No problem at all. Because every one of us has antigen and the antibody different from the antigen, opposite to the antigen. For example, the person which has blood group A, he has antigen A and the antibody B. The person which has blood group B has antigen B and the antibody anti-A. But the person whose blood group AB, he has both antigens A and B, but he doesn't have any antibodies. His blood doesn't contain any antibodies. And the person who has blood group O has antibodies A and B, the two types of antibodies, and doesn't have any antigens on the red blood cells. So this is the differences between the four blood groups according to the type of antigens and the antibodies. The blood group A has antigen A and antibody B. The blood group B has antigen B and antibody A. The blood group AB has antigen A and antigen B and doesn't have any antibodies. The blood group O has no antigens and has antibody A and antibody B. طيب امتى تحصل المشكله؟ طب انا عندي انتيجين A وانتي بادي B، هل كده انا عندي مشكله؟ لا. المشكله تحصل امتى؟ لو واحد عنده انتيجين A وجبت له بلاد جروب B اللي فيها انتي بادي A. انتيجين A يتقابل مع انتي بادي A، كده تحصل ايه المشكله؟ ما ينفعش. واحد بلاد جروب بتاعته A ما ينفعش اجيب له واحد بلاد جروب B وادي له منه بلاد، اعمل دونيشن اوف بلاد، لان ده عنده انتيجين A وده عنده الانتي A. انا عندي الانتي A، العدو بتاعي هو الاي. فلو شفت الانتيجين A هبتدي اعمل معاه كيميكال رياكشن وابتدي اعمل اجلوتينيشن بلاد، اعمل تجلط للدم ويبدا يحصل فيفر وممكن يحصل ديس. لو جه واحد عنده انتيجين A اديته بلاد في انتي بادي A، كده تحصل ايه؟ مشكله. والعكس صحيح، لو واحد عنده انتي بادي B ما ينفعش اديله بلاد فيه انتيجين B، لان هيحصل اجلوتينيشن بلاد، كيميكال رياكشن هيحصل ويحصل اجلوتينيشن اوف بلاد. وبالتالي بناء على هذا الاساس في قواعد للدونيشن، بلاد دونيشن. مش اي حد نقدر نديله بلاد، مش اي حد نقدر نديله بلاد بتاع اي حد، لازم يبقى في رولز، في قواعد للبلاد دونيشن. فهنقول الرولز دي بس الحصه القادمه ان شاء الله بالتفصيل، لكن ناخدها باختصار دلوقتي. بنقول ان الاو دي عشان ما عندهاش انتيجنز خالص ممكن تعمل دونيشن لاي بلاد جروب ما عندهاش انتيجنز، فتقدر تعمل دونيشن لنفسها للاو نفسها، وتقدر تعمل دونيشن للاي، وتقدر تعمل دونيشن للبي، وتقدر تعمل دونيشن للاي بي عشان ما عندهاش ايه انتيجنز. فالبلاد بتاعها لو راح لاي حته مفيش مشكله، ما عندناش انتيجنز وبالتالي يروح لاي حد مفيش اي مشكله. العكس بقى بلاد جروب اي بي ما عندهاش انتي بوديز، فلو جيب لها بلاد من اي حته مفيش مشكله، جبت لها من البي مفيش مشكله، جبت لها من الاي مفيش مشكله، جبت لها من الاو مفيش مشكله. فالاي بي دي جنرال ريسيبينت، لكن الاو جنرال دونيت او دونر، ممكن يدي لاي حد. الاي بي ممكن ياخد من اي حد. ليه؟ لان الاو ما عندوش انتيجنز، هاز نو انتيجنز، فيقدر يعمل دونيشن لاي حد ومفيش اي حاجه هتحصل لانه ما عندوش انتيجنز. الاي بي ما عندوش انتي بوديز، فممكن يستقبل بلاد من اي حد من غير ما تحصل اي مشكله. يستقبل من نفسه، يستقبل من البي، يستقبل من الاي، يستقبل من الاو. فيعتبر الاو يونيفرسال دونر يدي لاي حد، ويعتبر الاي بي يونيفرسال اي ريسيبيانت يستقبل من اي حد. طب الاي البي والاي بقى، البي يقدر يدي للاي بي ويقدر يدي للبي الاي، يقدر يعمل دونيشن للاي بي ويقدر يعمل دونيشن لنفسه لاي. البي يقدر يعمل دونيشن للاي بي ويقدر يعمل دونيشن للبي. والاي والبي يقدروا ياخدوا بلاد منين؟ من الاو، يعملوا يبقوا ريسيبيانت من الاو، ياخدوا بلاد من الاو مفيش مشاكل، وياخدوا بلاد من نفسهم. receive blood from themselves. A and B can receive from themselves يعني blood same blood group, and they can receive blood from O, and they can give blood for themselves and can give blood for AB group. So you have to look at this table. A can give be a recipient from O, can't be a recipient from AB, can be a recipient from O. Okay, you can remember this table. B can be a recipient from O, can be a recipient from B, and cannot be a recipient from A and AB. AB can be a recipient for all blood groups. O can be a recipient only from blood group O only. So general donor, O is called general donor or universal donor, and the AB can be called universal recipient. And we'll stop here in this